Ghost hunting for fun and profit. Does the idea of walking around an old abandoned building, getting yourself exposed to mold and mildew sound like a fun weekend? Does the idea of being chased by rats and dealing with feral homeless people sound like a job for you? Then you should be a ghost hunter. Now, the idea of ghost hunting, it sounds like a fun and exciting thing, and it can be, but you have to be very practical about what your limitations are and the actual logistics of doing it. Now, I'm speaking from experience. I've done a couple of documentaries. I'm working on 2 more. When people talk about becoming a ghost hunter, a paranormal investigator, they're thinking about actually like Zach, like Ghost Adventures, where you're actually out in the field running an investigation. Well, you have to consider the logistics of that. Number one, the money. The money is one of the biggest problems. You have to be able to support yourself while you're doing all of this. There's no guarantee that the channel is going to be financially successful. Sorry to break it to you. It's a very niche community. Although the people in the community do appreciate people who put in the actual work. The equipment costs can be, you can do it inexpensively, and I have shown in the past where you can get like an infrared video camera for under $100. But when you start getting into EMF detectors and spirit boxes, that sort of thing, as well as weatherproof cameras like a GoPro, which you really should have because you can't control the weather, and if you're in a hostile environment, as far as like an old abandoned building, it can be very hard on the equipment. Also, sound capture. I'm going to tell you right now, filming nowadays with a cell phone camera or just a basic video camera is one thing. Capturing quality sound, that is still the biggest mountain you're going to have to climb. Good sound equipment and good editing equipment, that's going to start running you into some money. Also, the stuff can be a little fragile, and getting everything to talk to everything else as far as hooking all the equipment up, you do have to start educating yourself a little bit as on the technical side. Also, getting access to locations. It's not a matter of you just walk into a building and start filming, especially a place that's every building's going to have an owner. And even if it's an abandoned warehouse, if you're walking around in there with a bunch of lights and cameras, the neighbors are going to notice. You may have to deal with law enforcement. So you have to get permission. You can guerrilla it. I have guerrilla filming is when you're filming it surreptitiously without permission. I have done that in the past. And I actually have a documentary on my channel of where I went up to Brand Park and shot a documentary up there. You can do that, but you gotta be cagey about it. There's a couple I'm planning in the future that I am gonna guerrilla as well, simply because getting permits can be a problem. Lots of times people will want cash up front to use their building and their location to film. So if you have the money, by all means, do it right. But if you have to do it on the sly, like with a hotel, rent a room, you can film yourself walking around, do a lot of B-roll. B-roll is when you're just filming the area, and usually there's no dialogue being captured. You're just going to use that footage and use it as a location setting establishment and also for voiceover. So getting B-roll is not that big of a problem. And anything you would do as far as like a seance or a Ouija board or EMF would have to be pretty much restricted to the room that you're working in. So yeah, with the research and everything, make sure that you're looking into how much access to the location you're going to have. Now, speaking as research, you can be an armchair paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, where you're seeing people having reports about it, and then you do it from the comfort of your own home. You can research the location, look at the footage, look at the history of the footage, who put the footage forward, see if they seem legit. There are different softwares which I'm going to have to start looking into as far as checking to see whether anything is AI. That's starting to become a huge problem, AI faked footage. And you can also, if you want to do interviews, you can do them by Zoom. Just record an interview by Zoom. That way you can do it without a lot of the logistical problems of actually going on location. And the third way is being a paranormal researcher, which is the simplest way and the best way to get into it. You would look up when you see a paranormal phenomena happening, whether it's a UFO or a ghost sighting, and you actually do the research and present your findings to the general public. That is the simplest way. It's the least labor intensive, and it's the least expensive. It is really a good way to get your feet into and also educate yourself in the different types of ghostly phenomena. Active hauntings, residual hauntings, poltergeist activity. These are all different separate things, and you really should learn the differences, learn the ins and outs, and being a commentator, an actual just researcher, would be the best way to educate yourself in it. So, if you're looking for a job on the weekends, ghost hunting, you can't really go wrong with it. Try and make sure nothing follows you home, which I'm going to try and do videos on that later in the future. But you guys have fun.